What's goody? What's goody, y'all? Once again, my name is Eli Blacide. Hold on, wait a minute. I had to pause the little TV and whatnot. Once again, my name is Eli Blacide. We are here for Hood Translations of the Bible. This will be starting from Genesis chapter 6, which I can't remember how I did my little setup last time for y'all to see my little Bible, but as y'all can see, I'm reading from the actual Bible. So that's what we're going to be reading from. KJV version, starting in chapter 6. This chapter is about the instruction to Noah. And I'm actually very excited to read about Noah because, well, we're going to have to, of course, fully discuss it and divulge into it after we get through the full story, which I believe ends around chapter 9. Either somewhere between chapter 8 through chapter 12, I believe it ends for the story of Noah and whatnot. But it will be a very interesting topic to divulge in simply because of, I guess, other story or other lore that's centered around his story, or of course, if you're stemming from Christianity slash Christian teachings, I guess, stemming from Noah, but then of course divulging into the different cultural aspects and stories and whatnot. That's neither here nor there. Like I said, that's going to be very fun when we get to that point. As always, like I've been saying before, if y'all in touch with either the Has Been Hotel or the Mighty Nine, if you linking with any of them people, I'm just asking that y'all link with me. That's all I want. Link with me. Link with me. So I can go ahead and be on the team. But, like I said, we're going to start from chapter 6. So, Genesis chapter 6, instructions to Noah. Verse 1. And it came to pass when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and that they took them wives of all which they chose. So being fair means they look good. That's anytime what you're going to see that a lot in the Bible. To be fair means you was beautiful. You was fair. You was beautiful. I'm pretty sure it means you was like a virgin too, or close to it, but you were fair. Like you was worth what it was to be a woman back then. You feel me knocking? You was of that worth, because you know they was quick to shame women. But that's neither here nor there. Verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Oh, so boom. That's even right there. I figured out, finally he figured it out. He was like, yeah, y'all days gonna be about 120 years. That's why you ain't seen nobody really outlast 120. You done seen some people get to 113 and whatnot. What I believe the last lady that was alive, or that is known to be alive during the Tulsa massacres, which I can't remember her name. It was either Viola Violet or something. I'm sorry, mama. Or not my actual mama, but you know, mama of the revolution and the people and whatnot. But she literally just died, literally like last week or whatnot. And so, yeah. But like I was saying, you getting about 120 years at max. That's what it said. It seemed like he was set on. Y'all getting 100 years, 120. If y'all real good, you feel me knocking. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth of these days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in and unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, bear children to them, the same between mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. I'm not sure. We're going to have to read verse 4 again, because that was confusing. And God saw that wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord. Verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made unto man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. 7. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the sea, of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. No, I said that right. Verse 13. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. 14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou. I'm so sorry. Starting from verse 14 again. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. Yeah, we're going to have to read verse 4 and 14 again, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that when we get finished. Verse 15. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of 50 cubits, and the height of 30 cubits. I'm pretty sure cubits was feet. Although, of course, like within math and whatnot, we'd be like cubic meters or cubic centimeters and whatnot. This and that. Within that time, I'm pretty sure cubes mostly translate into feet. So when it says 300 cubits long, that's how long it was. The breadth, which is essentially the width of it, is 50. So it was 300 feet long, 50 feet wide. So 300 by 50 feet, and then it was 30 feet high. So that's just to give y'all dimensions and whatnot. And of course, once I finish and whatnot, I'll go into see if cubits actually means feet, or if that is the closest translation from, of course, that time period of measure until now. But I'm pretty sure I was correct in the statement that it was feet. Verse 16, or that it closely related to feet. Verse 16, a window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third story shalt thou make it. So, because it was 30 feet high, I'm guessing each feet had to stand about 10 tall. Each floor was 10 feet tall. The lower, the middle, the second, and the third. Each level was 10 feet, which is about most buildings, I guess, nowadays. I'm not that tall to really gauge if that's the height of the building, but it makes sense to me, at least. Verse 17, and behold, I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that the earth shall die. Everything that is in the earth shall die. Verse 18. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou with unto thee of all the food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to the verse 22. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he. So boom, once again, Let's first go read the ESV for verse 4 and 14. I believe that's what I told y'all before, so that's what we gonna get into. I got my mama. Exodus, what is this? Genesis chapter 6. So verse 4, if you remember, it had said there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were old men of renown. So now the ESV version states the Nephilim. I'm guessing that means giants, because that's what it says. There were giants in the earth, and it's just saying the Nephilim. So I'm guessing that is the species in which they named the giants and whatnot. So, once again, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. When the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So, it says, God came into to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old. I'm not fully understanding what it's saying. I'm going to just be honest with y'all. I don't fully understand why he put that verse in there. I think he was just setting the scene. Because this was the time, like he said, he's of course setting the scene for the seed to be destroyed. Let's get it straight right there. He's setting the scene to get the scene destroyed. The scene destroyed being real quick. But he's setting the scene for y'all to know what the time period was. So he's saying the Nephilim was there, or of course the giants was there, but he also says it was in those days as well as afterward. So I'm guessing there were still giants after he did the flood too. But beforehand, he was saying it was giants, it was the sons of God. So of course God and his people. But it says when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. So I'm guessing it was his generation and his people came into the daughters of man. So what it's giving is the sons of God, which was of course all those people that we had listed beforehand, all the sons that had came from Enoch, and then of course after Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, all those people, all their relatives, those elders and juniors and proceeders. Yeah, proceeders, like I was saying. Anyhow, it's given that all of them were there too. But he's saying when they had came into the daughters of men, which, although, of course, he said, let's create. Once again, let's create man in our image. I'm believing he's saying God's son, as in the specific group he had took out of those men that he took. Those is what he's calling God's son. Because the rest of them don't know God. And once again, when those ain't your people, they can't just claim you like that. Same as where we was talking about the little family reunion. Oh, that's Aunt Kiki and her people. Those all people related to her. All her seeds, all her seeds and whatnot. Like, it goes down like that. Same ordeal. These is God's people and God's seeds, God's people. Because God, like I said, although he created all of them, these were the specific people I believe he attuned to. So once again, we are now getting to God, the Nephilims, God's sons, Nephilims, once again the giants, God's people, and then the other people, the daughters of man. But he's saying when God's sons came into the daughters of man, they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. That part, I'm still not fully encapsulated as to what that means either. But what it's giving, it says, these were the mighty men, the women, these were the mighty men who were old, the men of renown. So I'm feeling like, although we haven't got into deep stories and whatnot, I believe there's a. I'm not fully sure, but I'm pretty sure later on we're going to jump back into like the generations of Abraham and whatnot, talking about some of his people and whatnot. And that's what it's giving. These were the mighty men of old and the men of renown. These were the ones that were known. These were the known people that had a gift blessed upon them. And then we's not talking about them right now, but we're going to talk about them later. And we're going to, of course, talk about their generations later. That's the best I got for that one. I don't really fully know, but that's the best I got for it. So that's what we're going to have to go with. If we go to 14, remember it says, make thee an ark of gopher wood, room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without pitch it within and without with pitch. Now, ESV version says, make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch. Now, I'm not sure what pitch means, but let's find out. Pitch. Let's do pitch first because I won't remember that one. Definition, pitch, and KJV Bible. In the KJV Bible, pitch primarily refers to a waterproof tar-like substance such as asphalt or bitumen, used for coating things like Noah's Ark for waterproofing and caulking ships. The Hebrew word for pitch, Kopher, can also be translated as covering or atonement, connecting its function to the protective covering over Noah's Ark and symbolically to concept of atonement. So essentially a waterproof substance. So that's what they were giving this for pitch. It was like they said, asphalt and whatnot. What unit of measure is cubits in the Bible closest to? The biblical cubit is closest to the modern unit of an inch or a foot. What did I tell y'all? And y'all not telling me it was 300 inches by 50 inches only to be 30 inches high. No, it's giving 918. Like I said, it's giving a foot. It says, like I said, unit of an inch or a foot, generally estimated to be about 18 inches or approximately 45 centimeters. But once again, 12 inches is a foot. So it's not giving an inch to me. I'm sorry. I get what the AI on the Google is saying, but I'm saying it ain't giving no inch, baby. It's giving a foot. It's giving a foot. It says the cubit was an ancient unit of linear measure based on the length of a person's forearm from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger. From the elbow to the tip of the middle finger. That's about a foot. That's longer than a foot, to be honest. But that's definitely not an inch. This is an inch. I remember it was the knuckle space in between those little two right there. That's an inch. That's a foot, baby. Sorry to let them know. Tip of the middle finger. Its precise length varied by time and location in the ancient world, and the Bible itself may refer to different standards. So once again, because like I said, time has progressed and went on, there's not a direct unit of measure that we can attribute it to, but its closest length of measure is a foot, which I had told y'all from the beginning, a foot. So yeah, Noah's Ark was about 3 football fields long, 50, which, no, I'm just going to say half a football field wide, not long. Think of where I'm going with it. So once again, 3 football fields long, half a football field wide, and then about 3/10 of a football field high. If you keeping up, remember it was 30 cubits high. So 3/10 of a football field, 3 of 100 yards. Ooh, ooh, ooh! I'm lying. A yard, if we remember from our customary conversions, a yard is 3 feet. A yard is 3 meters, or a meter is 3 feet. And a yard a yard and a meter is about the same. So once again, you have 3. So 1 or 3 football fields would be inaccurate because it's about 300 feet. 3 football fields is 300 yards, which would be approximately 900 feet. So my measurements is also wrong. So the closest thing I can give you to 300 feet, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Just imagine 300 of your... Go 300 feet down the corner and then come back. That's what y'all gonna have to do. Because that's the best I can give it to you. Imagine 300 feet. Imagine a football field. Like I said. 100 yards, 3 feet each yard. Yeah. Imagine 1 football field. So once again, it's about 1 football field long. 50 cubic units. That's 300. Ooh, 50 feet. So that's not. Oh. So what is 100 divided by? Not 100 divided by 50, because that's 300 feet divided by 6. So 1/6 of a football field wide, 1 football field long, 1/6 of a football field wide, and about 3 times 10. Yeah, because 10 yards, that'd be 30 feet. Yeah, so about 1/10 of a football field high. So, once again, let's do this correctly. You have approximately 1 football field long. Dang, that's actually crazy. It actually wasn't that big now. Well, that's of course big, but that's not as big as I was thinking. So you have 1 football field long, 1/6 of a football field wide, and 1/10 of a football field high. That should give you some type of basis as to the dimensions of the ark. Of course, by no means small. About the size of an average yacht nowadays. Of course, I ain't been on a yacht, so I wouldn't actually know. But when I see them on TV, that's what it's given. About that size, length, and whatnot. So, yeah. That's number 6. We shall dip into number 7 next time, where it says water covers the earth. What's goody, y'all? We are here once again for chapter 7 of Hood Translations of the Bible. Genesis chapter 7. Let me be more specific. Also, I don't really know why. Every day I try recording this, or either recording or editing, either or. It has been raining, so I ain't really had much sunlight outside, which I rebuke any spirit trying to cancel the assignment that I've already set out to do. Like, be gone. But that's neither here nor there. Let's hop right on in to chapter 7. As y'all can see, I fixed my little setup. I figured out what I did with my other setup when we was doing chapter 6, but I ain't fully figured it out because I feel like y'all can see the top of my head in my last setup too. But that's neither here nor there. Chapter 7, which this will be about water covering the earth. Or water covers the earth. Of course, chapter 6, we were talking about Noah and whatnot and his instructions to build the ark. So I believe this will now go into the actual action of why I told you to build this ark. What's finna go down. So chapter 7 verse 1. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark. For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by 7s, the male and his female. And of beasts there are not clean by 2, the male and the female. Of fowls also in the air by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from the face of the earth. Now, as it was saying, or like he was saying, take seven of each, the male and the female, which is, of course, the seven parents, of course, of everything that was clean and the unclean, which I don't get the difference between what was clean and what was unclean. And I know, like, a lot of people, or like religious wise, whatnot, they will do it by like animals. Like, I believe it's either Hindu or Voodoo, not Voodoo, Buddhism. I think it's Hinduism though, that the cow is holy. So like they don't eat beef, they don't eat anything in relation to the cow because the cow is holy. A lot of Christians will do it with pork and things like that. They call pork a dirty animal just because they're scavengers or omnivores. Actually, they're not scavengers. Let me get that correct. They are omnivores. However, they will eat because they are omnivores. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Christians will say it about pork. Some, I think Muslim is pork too. But then, like, I know, like, halal, you have to, that's like the specific way I believe it is prepared. I don't believe that's a specific animal, but I do believe it still attributes itself to also not eating specific animals and whatnot. But anyhow, as we were saying, like, and before when he had said he had created men, he had also created their parents. And he had also said the same about the animals and whatnot. Like, it wasn't just the one pair when they were first populating. It wasn't just one pair of each and whatnot. Each animal, like each pairing, male and female of each animal of each man, that in the third there was also pairings of, I guess, that pair. And so this sort of also re-emphasizes that, because as he says, sevenfolds of all the, or sevenfolds of them. Let me actually get to the exact scripture. Verse 2, it says, of every clean beast thou shalt take thee to thee by sevens, the male and the female. So in total, that was, of course, 14, but that is once again emphasizing, God was not expecting two people or two of a kind to populate this entire I guess planet, to populate the entire population at that. And so, although once again that had proved it before then, I either have to find another way to prove it, because now we are finna get into Noah too, which, not to jump ahead and whatnot, but as far as the story of Noah goes, people believe the entire earth was flooded. Once again, which my thinking about that is, but then once again, even if you were, like I said, because he didn't know exactly how incest would manifest and whatnot. So if that's why we are emphasizing why he did the first great flood and whatnot, he was wiping out the population because, one, there was, he was calling them all wicked, but of course incest was also wicked and whatnot. But like I said, I don't even think it was full incest, because once again we said they were 7 of 7. So although we of course have been taught that it was only these people and only his people that we are talking about within the Bible, that is not true. There was other people out there. But anyhow, regardless, I now have to divulge into, or find through the reading, or there's a possible outlet, but once again, we'll get that to the end of the Noah chapter. We'll get to that at the end of the chapter about Noah and whatnot. But anyhow, this is what's going to go on. So once again, that is just to emphasize, he wasn't just bringing a pair of a species and whatnot to go populate again. Once again, as long as it was clean beast, the beasts that are not clean by 2. Oh, so like birds, clean beasts, birds, and things like that, there were 7 pairs. Like I said, I don't know what made the difference between clean beast and unclean beast. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I got the hiccups. Hopefully that stops it. I don't know what makes a beast clean versus unclean beast, but once again, clean beast he had 7 pairings, and then unclean beast he only had 1 pair. So once again, it wasn't just 1 pair that was expected to repopulate the earth once again. So I'm assuming the same happened with Noah and them too. But like I said, I can't prove that right now, so we'll get to that later. Verse 5. And Noah did according unto all the Lord had commanded him. Verse 6. And Noah was 600 years when the flood of waters was upon the earth. When the flood of... I said it right. Verse 7. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wives, and his sons' wives with him, into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went in two and two into Noah, into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass, verse 10, and it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. Verse 11, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, in the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Verse 13. In the self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wives, and the wives of his sons, and there were unto in them, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. We're going to read that again because, sorry, I got messed up. Verse 13. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. So once again, that was just basically explaining on that day, once it started raining, they had knew, all right, let's get into the ark. So once all the animals had already came in and everything, now Noah's sons and Noah's wife, as well as the sons' 3 wives, are all going into the ark as well. Boom. Verse 14. They and every beast after his kind, and all of the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. Verse 15. And they went, sorry, y'all know this Bible is old. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 of 2 of all flesh, wherein there is the breath of life. Verse 15. We just gonna read that over again, because once again I'm messing up. And they went into Noah into the ark, 2 of 2 of all flesh, wherein as the breath of life. So once again, all living things. That's essentially what it's saying. Everything that had life within it came 2 of 2 for a pairing. Boom. Into the ark. Once again. So that they wouldn't die. Verse 16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Verse 17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bear up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. Verse 18. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. Verse 19. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And so that right there gives me, once again, as we had spoke about in the previous chapter, although cubits, I guess, for that term or within that period, in that sense of it, where they were using it, it was to mean feet. But then right here it says 15 cubits upward did the water prevail, which means the water would only go up 15 feet. And the issue is, it says, and the mountains were covered. A mountain not being covered by 15 feet of water. I'm sorry to let y'all know. A mountain not being covered. A house, yes, most definitely. As we talked about earlier, most houses are about 10 feet. I think it ain't higher no 20 feet unless it's 2 stories. That's all I'm saying. So 15 isn't giving me mountain. So that's why we also say the unit of measure can't be exactly measured or quantified within what we are now measuring in today's world. But given the aspect of the story or in the terms in which they use it, I guess we just gonna have to use context clues and whatnot. Because once again, I'm knowing 15 feet ain't covering no mountain. That's neither here nor there. Verse 21. And all the flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, all of that was in the day land died. In the dry land died. Verse 23. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creepy things and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. Verse 24. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So once again, we're just getting into the story of Noah, so nothing much has happened, but of course, I guess sort of to give a little relevance to it and whatnot, Noah, of course, was the great descendant of Abraham at this point. So once again, generations had passed and whatnot. God had the population thing popping, soaring, this, that, and third. He let man sort of rummage through the world and whatnot. But it had garnered too wicked. Because no one was actually, I guess, down there, not even to fully, I don't want to say command or, control or whatnot. But once again, nobody's down there teaching them things. Nobody is literally telling them this is morality or this is how you should act. Although there is some common sense and whatnot, once again, a lot of them, if they aren't hurting anyone, they're of course just living in their sin. They're just living how they wish to live and whatnot. And so he had said at one point it had just became wicked. So not even once again, I believe in 6, he had said not only God's sons, but man's daughter, the daughter of man. So once again, it's the gods in his generation that he said he was going to watch upon, as well as the other people. And once again, when they had known each other and communicated together and bore children as well, now you have, once again, a new generation of species and whatnot that, although they may know God, they may not know God, regardless, all this calamity and sin, chaos going around in the world, it's too wicked. Of course, once again, they had said that the giants was in this world and whatnot. And so if you know anything about the Bible, which we're of course going to go into that, and I don't actually know how deeply these Bibles go into it, but this was the land of monsters essentially. And so essentially a majority of people believe that before humanity came up as the top species, that the world was full of monsters. Even then, man, of course, was made as the top species by God. He was the most favored species. But this was during the time other monsters still existed on the earth. You had the giants. You had, I don't know. This is just lore and whatnot. So I don't know how deeply this is. But within it's biblical lore. So regardless, you had the Leviathans. You had giants. You had all type of different species and whatnot. And then, of course, you had even the angels could frequent Earth at this time and whatnot. Because there will be a section where I believe the angels were essentially having sex with the men and then producing offsprings and whatnot. And God was like, yeah, y'all wilding and whatnot. I don't lock me to that. Because once again, I'm trying to distinguish between where my lore and where the actual biblical status of it is, but it was biblical lore. So regardless, it's not like it just came out of nowhere, but I'm pretty sure that actually happened within the Bible. That's neither here nor there. Regardless, at this point, God had seen what his creation could steer off into, so he had to start from a clean slate and whatnot. This, of course, is going to get into, like I said, as we get deeper into the story, I'll try and figure out or find where in the story this is either going to disprove or non-prove. But regardless, like I said, within all the other species, as long as they were clean or they were birds, he took 7 pairings. The only thing he did not take of was unclean animals. But that also still gives me... no. That still makes us question, of course, whatnot, after Noah, who repopulated the earth. And once again, as we have already deciphered that Adam and Eve did not originally fully populate the earth. Those were just the people we were focused upon, because those are the people that God had took up upon for a special circumstance. So after that, we don't know. Like I said, we'll read, we'll see what pops up, but I am personally still not believing that we all come once again from Noah and them. As much as people be like, oh, we all started with Adam and Eve. No, we did not. So that still gives me reverence to we didn't all come from Noah or Noah's people as well. But like I said, we can't fully get into that yet. And we will get into, I guess, a little more what brings that into question as we end Noah's chapter, which I believe it should be ending. We finished on chapter 8, so once again, somewhere between 8 through 12, the story of Noah is gone. The story of Noah is not that long. Of course, it is big and monumental in theatrical sakes as well as biblical sakes of as to why it happened, and of course him being obedient, and of course surviving the flood because of his obedience and because of his commitment to God and God's covenant with him. But that doesn't, once again, like I said, that doesn't really explain, okay, now how are we going to start this new fresh state and whatnot. And we might not find that answer, but once again, because we've already proved it with Adam and Eve, and as well as he said, once again, bring 7 pairings of the clean animals and of the fowls onto your ark, it gives me reverence that either, as much as no other humans was, of course, on the ark other than his family and whatnot, it's giving me reverence there were other humans. As much as it did say all men was destroyed, I feel like it was a general vicinity. And like I said, when we finish the story of Noah, I'll explain more abundantly why I feel like it was just a general vicinity. And of course, so now it's the entire world to them, because all they know is this vicinity of the world. They don't know how expansive the world truly is. We don't know the Western Hemisphere is all the way over there. So once again, that gives me a reverence to where it was only a limited portion, and outside of that limited vicinity, there was already humans habitating and whatnot. So of course, once they had gotten out of the flood and then kept expanding, kept building generations or people or whatnot, you had other people that they had found and whatnot, and now they procreate and building other generations and whatnot. Can't fully prove it, but like I said, that's why we sitting right here studying and whatnot. That's it for chapter 6 and 7. We will start chapter 8. I will try to start... I'll try and start reading more than 2 chapters for each video and whatnot. But once again, as I originally stated in the first video, the Bible is actually mad dense. So it's not that I fully be tired of reading and whatnot. It's just a simple fact. Sometimes all I can get is 1-2 videos in without taking too much time, because each of these videos be like 20 minutes long, and that's not really fully even just me explaining. That's me partially reading and explaining at the same time, which is good, cool, calm, collected. But once again, the reading takes a big depth upon it. And that also factors into, once again, my lighting and whatnot, because I can't read if there's no light. So as y'all see me struggling, it's because I'm looking down without a light source. And so that's neither here nor there. Y'all know I'm partially blind. That's neither here nor there. So we're going to try and improve and all that and whatnot. But for right now, I'm feeling good. Click the link, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, invite them to Bible study, all that good stuff. It was once again a pleasure to meet with y'all this week. Peace, love, happiness. Have the day y'all deserve, week y'all deserve, month y'all deserve. And as we are close to January being the new year, get ready to build up for the year y'all deserve. Love y'all. Bless y'all. Catch y'all next week. Peace.